This is the 118th episode of CloudFocus Weekly for the second week of December 2012. This episode is titled Paging Zeitgeist. CloudFocus Week is sponsored by Arkus, your cloud computing experts. I'm your host, Jason Atwood, and joining me for the 118th time in a row, never missed one, Justin Edelstein. Justin, how you doing today?
I would never miss an episode.
You know, as we were just talking about how you weren't
Never.
going to be here in 2 weeks. So this is our second to last of 2012.
It would seem that way.
So next week we'll do our yearly wrap up,
Yeah.
which we never do, but I'm just making it up on the fly.
Well, we might maybe do some predictions, or are those not going to be ready? Those
I
won't
could
be
have them ready. I
Hmm.
mean, first week of January, if my predictions have come through, all three.
Yeah, I guess they don't have to be there yet.
But let's talk about some stuff today. We have an agendorium. I'm punchy, you can tell.
Mhm.
Lack of.
You're wearing a button-down shirt,
I'm wearing a button-down shirt, which means I've been with clients today,
which we love,
all our clients.
because some of them listen.
Yes. So we have a blog post about one-pagers, which we'll talk about. We have the 2012 Google Zeitgeist, and we have a mixing of your peanut butter and your chocolate together in some things that we love: politics and Salesforce. Mixing those two things together. Beautiful. Beautiful thing. All right. Let's start it off by talking about the blog post. One-pagers.
One-pagers.
That's it. No.
Sometimes they're 2 pages, but they're called one-pagers.
So this was a blog post by one of the Arkus associates that came about because we had we've actually had more than a few clients come to us and ask, hey, I want to be able to produce printable PDFs or printable documents that kind of summarize a bunch of data in literally a one page, so I can print it and either bring it to a meeting or bring it on the plane. And whereas mostly I would say, hey, go to the account page and hit printable view, it doesn't really do everything, because there's sometimes you want to bring in data that's related or related to related, or some, and maybe you want it to be in a pretty picture. So we've done this a couple times. It seems to be kind of a trend. So we thought, hey, let's write a blog post about it. Not live today. We'll probably be live by the time you hear this. But thoughts?
Yeah, we used, in particular for this blog post, the technique used to build the one-pagers was described using Conga.
Yes.
So it was kind of a Conga composer plug along the way, as it's I'm sure it was one of our favorite picks when we made our pick favorites.
Oh, yeah.
Because it is one of Arkus's favorite applications to use with our clients. So this was really about doing, a nice slick for all sorts of related data throughout the system by running reports and putting them into context with those accounts or any other record that you're on. Click a button, boom, you've got a nice view. We've also done this using Visualforce pages.
Yes, we have.
So we've done one-pagers that maybe have different looking formats, or some really complicated maybe calculations being done on the fly, where we've done those using Visualforce with the output as PDF. So there's multiple ways to skin this problem.
Proverbial cat.
Yeah, I was going to say cat, but I have a cat and I don't want to talk about skinning him, so I was going to say skin the problem.
Skin the problem.
Yeah.
Well, cats can be a problem.
They sure can,
they sure
especially
can.
when they hiss at you.
All the time. So I think, when we talk about doing one-pagers, definitely, you talk about Visualforce, and then you talk about using a Conga composer. For you guys out there thinking about doing one or the other, consider a few things. One, doing Conga, you do have a little bit more, while it might take, you have less granular control because there are things that Conga can't do.
Well, also the formatting of it is...
Well, you can get pretty close.
Yeah, you're constrained to pretty much what Word and Excel can do.
Right. No, they have PowerPoint now.
Yeah, even still.
Yeah. You can't really get granular. Like, when you're doing Visualforce, you're actually doing HTML, and then you can really do almost anything. One, you could probably edit and change as a business user. The other, you cannot. And when it comes to licensing, you might want to build it in Visualforce, because once it's built as Visualforce, while it will have definitely cost you more to build it, unless you have an internal Visualforce guy or gal. In Conga, for every person that needs to generate that PDF, they need a license. So it adds on top of your Salesforce license. So for some, that's like too much. And so if you have hundreds or thousands of people that want to be able to click this button, the Visualforce might be easier to do, because it just, you never have to then, there's no other license to buy at all. So there's that. You have that going for you.
Yeah, I guess so.
So yeah, things to consider all at blog.argusinc.com.
Yeah, there's a lot more of the use case there, a lot more of some of the how-to, real description of what we're talking about when we're talking about a one-pager that we won't get into here, as we like to tease you into going to the blog from the podcast.
There you go. So head on over. Next up is
I love this.
This is kind of fun.
It's my favorite thing.
This is both cloudy and googly.
And searchy. I love searchy.
And searchy things. So this is the Zeitgeist 2012.
Love it.
Which is the yearly, or not yearly, because I think there's more than a yearly, but this is the one for 2012, which is Google's basically all the search trends of the 2012. Broken down in different areas and sort of categories,
topics,
types of searches, like images and athletes and events and people and feature films.
I don't know how they break athletes out from people and performing artists.
Well,
like why they do that, but I guess they want to, just to put more things on this thing. As someone who used to do this, I quite enjoy that Google can produce this level of sophistication and bring this level of I mean, they're not showing us complete statistics here, but they're showing us some really cool things around what people are doing on the internet, and I'm pretty sure it's a pretty good depiction of what happened in the world over the course of the last year.
Yeah, I mean, if you did nothing else, although you wouldn't know how or what happened to any of these things, but if you look through these lists of images, searches, athletes, things.
Athletes. You can discern that the Olympics happened this year. Why? Because there's some swimmers in the athletes' results. Why would Michael Phelps be the second most searched for athlete ever unless the Olympics happened this year?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
I was looking at this list, and there's athletes I don't know, which is weird because I know a lot about athletes. I don't know three of the top 10 athlete searches.
So let's go through a couple of them and just pick out a few that you think are interesting or shocking.
Sure. Well, I'm going to start with athletes. Number one, Jeremy Lin. As a New Yorker, Lin's sanity was actually pretty insane here in New York and throughout the world. It just crept out there into Asia and all over the place. So I find that he was the number one searched for athlete is pretty incredible, I must say.
Yeah, I find the interest. I was looking at the images, the top five.
Images are always funny to look
it's
at.
One Direction. So there's an element to this of looking for images, but it's like One Direction, which is a band, Selena Gomez, which is a person, iPhone 5, which is a thing, Megan Fox, which is an out of this world being, Rihanna, Justin Bieber, Harry Styles.
Harry Styles. Is that a person?
I don't know.
Or is it hairstyle spelled wrong?
I don't know. And then
I'm
Minecraft.
Googling it. It looks like it's a person who has an interesting hairstyle, which is also interesting.
Yeah. So, but Minecraft, number 8. Images of Minecraft, which is a video game.
Okay.
Events is kind of interesting. Hurricane Sandy. Yeah.
Sure.
Got that. SOPA gets
Kate Middleton pictures released.
Yeah.
Wonder what they were looking for there.
Yep.
Safe search off.
Penn State scandal. That's kind of interesting.
Why would someone look for we're in events, not pictures.
Yeah,
right?
in events.
I was about to say, why would you look for an image of that?
People, it's sort of, it's Kate Middleton, it's Whitney Houston, because she passed away, Michael Clark Duncan, who passed away as well. Jeremy Lin gets on that list. It's kind of interesting. Let's see. The only other one, the one that really...
TV shows is a little weird.
Well, that's what kind of blew me away, was that I know my TV. I watch some TV.
Me too.
I like some TV.
We love us some TV.
Love me some TV. And yet I look at this list, and of the top 3, I don't know what they are. I know what the third one is because I've heard about it.
How can you not have heard of Honey Boo Boo?
I've heard of Honey Boo Boo, but I've never seen the show.
I'm just surprised that, Mad Men was on this year, and Breaking Bad was on this year, and Walking Dead which has like a geeky internet following, was on this year, and none of those are on this list. And there's a couple on here that are like, really?
Well, The Voice and American Idol still get, top hit.
So.
And then BBB12.
I'm not sure what that. I mean, the cool part is this is very interactive. You just click it.
Yeah.
It's Big Brother Brazil.
Ah, Big Brother Brazil.
There's a bunch of Brazilian ones here.
That's interesting.
I think Google's very big in Brazil.
Yep.
They had that Orchid, right? Orchid's big in Brazil.
Consumer electronics is probably a no-brainer. You got the iPad 3, then followed Samsung Galaxy S3.
Bunch of Apple stuff.
The iPad Mini, Nexus 7, Galaxy Note, PlayStation. PlayStation kind of is funny because PlayStation is like, not only is it like 3 or 4 years old, but here,
it's not like PS3.
Yeah, it's PlayStation.
Well, that's
PS3.
what I mean. It's not like the search term isn't PS3.
Right,
it's
just
PlayStation.
And to think that like Wii U isn't on here, like that's a brand new device.
Well, Google
that's been talked about for a year.
Gamed this thing and got some of their Android devices on there.
You think so? And then why would you have airlines? There's a Zeitgeist for airlines.
I don't know. Was there something that happened with airlines?
No,
this year?
It's just a list of airlines. Southwest is the most searched airline. Okay, that's not very interesting, Google.
Google plus hashtags?
Yeah.
Twitter hashtags would be more interesting.
Yeah, since no one's there. But IO12, okay, well, if you're on Google, you're probably talking about Google I.O.
South by Southwest.
Debate, Blast from the Past, Eastwooding, which I don't even know what that is.
I don't know what that is. I didn't even know what the first one is. And I'm
SOPA?
Yeah, I'm a little embarrassed by it.
We discussed SOPA on this
we did
podcast.
discuss SOPA, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Anyway, interesting. It's on the Google. Just type in Zeitgeist, if you can remember how to spell that. Zeitgeist.
I'm sure you could search for a bunch of things. You could probably search for like trending. I wonder if I search for like trending.
And you can drill in by country, which is kind of fun. So if you want to see like what's the most searched things in India, you can do that. So that's kind of fun. Like the movies, Ek Tha Tiger was the #1 movie in India. Searched for.
There you
go. So kind of cool. Anyway, so that happened. Next up in our last...
I like the Zeitgeist. Gangnam Style, #2.
Yeah, Gangnam Style. Last story is something I've seen a couple things happen. I've seen this pop up in my news feeds a few times, and it's really about Salesforce being used by Obama's campaign. And the title it's on the Wall Street Journal. It's actually Obama's campaign used Salesforce.com to gauge feelings of core voters. It's interesting. They talked a lot about Salesforce.
They didn't use Salesforce.
I don't think they use Salesforce at all. This is Radiant 6.
This is Radiant 6 for sure.
Yeah, they don't really mention Radiant 6. They just say Salesforce.
No, they just say that technology from Salesforce tracked 5.7 million messages, as many as 80,000 per day, received by email, phone, and through the campaign's website to sort through the messages and get questions routed to the right staffer in the
but
sprawling
that
organization.
sounds like Salesforce.
That actually sounds more like desk.com to me. Yeah, that's what that sounds like. That sounds
you would
to
never
me,
put 80,000 per day in desk.com.
Just that's what it sounds more like to me than Salesforce. It sounds like Radiant 6 or desk. It doesn't sound like Salesforce to me. And that, like sorting through and using like keywords in messages to route things. Desk.com actually does that really well.
Interesting. I just can't imagine.
And so does Radiant 6. Radiant 6 does that really well too.
But it doesn't do email messages, does it?
No, it doesn't. It's weird.
So phone?
And that neither. That's why I feel like desktop. I feel like this is desktop. They don't.
I'm saying it right here. I'm just calling it out here on the podcast. No way did they sell Obama campaign desk.com to run their 80,000 messages a day.
I don't know.
Plus, you look at the pricing.
Well,
it was 155,000 on Salesforce collaboration social
calls,
networking,
right? But who knows how many of those were calls versus?
I think they were logged and they came in as cases.
You really think so?
Yep.
I don't know about that.
I think it was an integration. Anyway, kind of interesting. I mean, I've heard of campaigns using Salesforce before for marketing, for volunteer management.
Well, they even say, the campaign spent $155,000 on Salesforce's collaboration and social networking monitoring tool.
Makes sense.
Which would not be Salesforce.com. It would be Radiant 6.
Radiant 6, right.
Or Desk.com.
No.
I don't know.
All right, if anybody else
someone knows, someone has an in to Vivek Kundra,
yep,
who now works for Salesforce, who did work for Obama. Little connection there.
Seems pretty easy.
Yeah.
To put them up.
I don't know about this.
Yeah?
I don't feel like you were using Service Cloud or any of that. I feel like they were using Radiant 6.
Maybe, and just pumping everything through into Radiant 6, all the messages and voicemails.
Maybe you can, if you're the president, you can have Radiant 6 point at anything you want.
That's right. You bend space-time and you set it up. It took us 6 months to get trial licenses, so probably
took him less.
Less time to set it up. But
he makes one call. It's set up.
But
done.
This is, again, this is where I think, Mark Benioff and the Salesforce crew are saying, hey, listen, this is the future. People being able to pay attention. And in the last 2 campaigns, presidential campaigns, social has become huge. I mean, between organization, between donation, between, everything is now, follow on Facebook. I'm amazed recently just watching any show you watch now. I was watching something on Monday night. Oh, the Monday Night Football game, and it was use hashtag MNF Monday Night Football Patriots or MNF Texans.
Oh, well, they have the Gruden grinder too.
Yeah, but everything's a
Gruden grinder.
Everything's a hashtag or
or
Quadbox.
I had to put my my tweet out there today that I'm going to the 12-12-12 concert tonight. Humble brag, and asked if anyone was jealous, and it told me use the hashtag 12-12-12 concert, all uppercase. So I did.
Yeah, hashtag is becoming like this. But when you watch shows now, right? When you're watching shows now, it's literally they keep that more than the logo. Like the logo's on the TV show, but it's now like hashtags in the corner.
Yeah, because people watching together.
I guess. I don't hashtag my TV shows very often.
No, but when you're watching a live sporting, that's because I don't watch TV shows live. See, that's the thing that the hashtag sort of is like
the debate or sports. That's the only 2 things
live
I watch
events. I watched live sports really, and those I've watched many a football game with many a football fan who I've never met in my life, but we're watching the football game together,
right?
Including you,
right? Well, I mean, I've done that on Twitter.
Sure, on Twitter.
But I don't. You've actually made one of your picks. Was Yapler? Was it Yapler?
Yeah, the sports Yapper.
Yeah,
it's getting even bigger.
Yeah,
really is.
I logged into it a couple times. It didn't do what I wanted it or thought it was supposed to do, so I kind of didn't use it again.
They're ramping up.
Twitter seems to be the place where I go if I'm going to discuss sports, and since I can build lists and people I know, like I can then just watch a list of people, so I know I don't want to have like everybody on the planet. Sometimes it is amazingly fast how the data gets to Twitter before it gets anywhere else. Like,
oh yeah,
this person's coming back, this person's down on the field. Like, it's becoming a different experience. And I was watching something, and there was people injured, and they were like, that was before it hit the Broadway, it hit Twitter, and it was this person's coming back or leaving or whatever.
It's almost like when you're watching. I mean, we're going to use football because we're big football fans, but they always have the sideline reporter, right? And
right,
they're tweeting, and it's like follow whoever down on the sideline to get more news, because they're not going to throw it to the sideline reporter all the time on TV because that's just not how broadcasts work. But if that person can have a voice via Twitter, it makes that person actually way more valuable than they would normally be. Like usually the sideline reporter for any baseball or basketball or football game is sort of irrelevant. They're just there. They chime in like someone gets really hurt. They're like, oh, they sent them back to the locker room and back to you. Oh, well, we saw that on TV. Thank you. And then the information that they're giving could be relayed differently via Twitter because they could be there. They could get some information without chiming into the broadcast. They could actually chime into the broadcast. I like it. Twitter. Go Twitter.
The end of that conversation is, I like it.
I like
Twitter.
it. Go Twitter.
I like it. Twitter. All right. Well, speaking of things you like, how about we do some CloudFocus app picks of the week?
Wow, neither of us have even written anything on the Google Doc.
Nope.
For our picks. All right.
I will write something now.
You've done a lot of travel picks.
I was basically going to one-off your travel pick and maybe just pick
So
similar.
We are traveling this weekend.
Yes, we are.
Together.
Not for business.
For pleasure. Together.
For pleasure.
It's going to be awesome.
Innuendo inserted here.
I gave them ample time to insert their innuendo. And now you can insert another one. All right, done.
All right, excellent.
So I go on my iPhone with my fancy new iOS, and I'm like, ooh, Passbook. What's this? So I click into Passbook, and it's really nothing. It's just a way to get you to the App Store that is filtered down to different apps
that work with Passbook.
Well, Passbook itself is nothing.
No, that's not true.
Well, you can't do anything inside of Passbook.
But if you're using an app can talk to Passbook and put its thing into Passbook.
Yeah, I haven't figured that part out yet.
I know you haven't.
So I went in and I downloaded the American Airlines app.
Right.
Because we're flying American Airlines.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I can check in on my phone and I can even have the boarding pass on my phone. I have no idea how to get this back into Passbook.
It's not officially working with Passbook unless it puts it into Passbook.
Oh. Well, so Passbook again, to me, is still whatever it is. But
it's a great concept. It just needs to be realized. It just doesn't seem to work. I think the developers need to do more than they're wanting to do. So
yeah, probably.
So your pick
reminds me of the pick's the American Airlines app, just because I've never done that before. I'm sure I'm like the last geeky person on earth
pretty much
find their flight on their mobile, check in on their mobile, and then use it as their boarding pass. I've seen a lot of people do it before. I've never done it. I'm gonna do it this Sunday when we fly. The question is, because I've never done this before.
Go on.
So when you get online to get through security, they make you show your boarding pass and your ID, and then they initial it. Are they gonna write in Sharpie on my phone? What are they gonna do?
Interesting. You should ask this. I will answer because I will put my pick, which is.
Wait, answer my question.
No, because I did this last week.
Okay.
So I can answer it and make my pick at the same time.
All right.
Because I use the Delta iOS app.
So we're picking the American Airlines and the Delta app.
It's the best picks ever.
We're so cool.
We're so cool.
We're so not cool.
But I'll explain the experience because I came back with an opinion about it. I've flown for the last 3 weeks. I flew Delta. Yeah, so I flew Delta out 2 weeks ago, and I flew Delta last week and flying American Airlines. 2 weeks ago, I had 4 flights, and I did use the iPhone as your boarding pass. So when you roll up to the security, you just show it to them. They just look at it. They don't write on it. They just look at your phone. You go through, you go up the thing, you scan it just like you scan walking in the phone. Okay. Last week, I actually printed out my little boarding passes. And I will tell you, and this is going to sound very strange coming from me, it's better to print out the passes. Here's why. First of all, your phone is something that you're juggling with anyway. It's a piece of it's a device, but it's weighted and whatever, and you don't want to drop it. When you're kind of going through the airport, you want something that you can kind of separate out from your phone. So you want something that you can hold on to, squish up in your passport, put in your pockets, very light. You don't really, and that you can throw away. Your phone, on the other hand, is something you have in your hand, but then you have to get to the app, sort of get into the app. Your phone locks. It's not the best experience. Then when you check in, you actually have to hand your phone to the person so they can check it in. Okay, great. So that person who's just touched a million pieces of paper and has been on an airplane, she's now touched my phone, and I'm not even a germaphobe, but now someone's handling my phone, right?
Prefer to say fondling my phone.
Fondling my phone.
Phone fondler.
And I thought the whole experience was kind of brutal.
So it's wonky?
Yeah, because you want to have your phone in your pocket, and then you want to be able to look when you're going down an aisle with things in your hand. Think about when you're going down the aisle, you got your briefcase, you got your thing, you got this piece of paper, but now if you're looking at at
But why are you looking
where's your seat? Oh, it's on your phone.
You can't remember your seat number?
I'm on 4 flights. I don't remember which one it was. I'm looking at. So you have to pull out your phone, turn it on, unlock it.
So is it safe to say that you're not going to check in on the phone when we fly together?
Here's another reason why.
Well,
I couldn't check in. You can only check in. You can't check in other people if you bought the tickets for them.
Oh,
so the other.
I bought these tickets for you, so I want to check you in.
You're gonna check. I won't
have
get
to
that
go
ability.
online?
I don't know. I won't get that ability.
Oh,
so I actually
maybe
thought,
we'll forego this.
No, you should try it. You should try it. But I literally came back and I did it for 4 flights, and then last week I did, and it was just not a great experience. It doesn't. In most cases, it would add something to it. Right, it adds something to the experience.
No, I was just thinking, I can skip going to the kiosk and checking in, but I guess you can do that from home with a printer.
Yeah, and the kiosk, you know what? Here's the worst part. The kiosk prints out a nice boarding pass. Yes. The one at home, you have to print out a whole piece of paper. It's big and bulky. The one in the kiosk prints out this nice little...
I was thinking, skip that line, cool. And there's never really a line for the kiosk, but whatever.
Yeah. I mean, and you can print it out at home. And you print it out when you check in 24 hours in advance. So I always print it out at home.
Yeah.
And I throw up...
Well, that was the thing. I was going to check in on the phone 24 hours in advance. I'm guessing I could check in just so I'm checked in, I'm on the flight. And then I can still go to the airport and print from the kiosk my boarding pass.
Yes, you can.
So you're checked in. That's cool. Now I just want my boarding pass.
Yes.
But I'm going to do it on the phone on the way there just to experience the experience, geek it out a little. It doesn't require an internet connection, right? I can't get screwed up because...
No, but getting in that app, you got to boot up that app. So if you're texting, then you got to go over to the app, find it, boot up, and then sometimes it then has to get to the... It's layers deep, and it's not sitting on top of your...
You need the record locator.
It's just, you need that scanner thing. Yeah. It's not well done. It makes it more difficult.
You're making me think about not doing it. So why are you picking the Delta app then if you're railing against it?
Because
what's your advantages? Well, I've never used it, so I'm having fun with it.
Well, a lot of these apps, and I'll tell you, this is where I think these apps are kind of interesting because each one has different. So I have the Virgin one, the Delta one, the American Airlines one, and the JetBlue one. And they all have different features.
I imagine the Virgin one is pretty good.
JetBlue's the best.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I bet JetBlue's is really
Delta's
good
pretty good. So what they all have, or some of them have, and you have to go check your apps, but they all have alerting, so they'll alert you via notification, so they'll send you a notification on your phone if something's been changed or done. Some are better than others, some will give you better notifications. Now I'm going to make this a super pick, and I'll just name off a couple. So I love Flight Track Pro, and I've already made that a pick, and I love TripIt, which I've also made a pick, which is... So TripIt for the iOS and Flight Track Pro, and then Flightboard. So those are the 3 apps that I live by.
Flightboard is fun.
Yeah.
Because it looks like a big ticker symbol thing.
So those are the ones, and those all do alerting. They'll tell you, they give you alerting when things are going to be delayed or not.
You're my alerting system.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. It's you want to know, and they have saved me. I've been sitting in the airport and got the alert that our flight's been canceled or moved or changed off those things faster than I got off anything else. So before they announced it in the airport, and this is one of those things, time is of the essence because you got to move flights.
Yeah, you better beat everybody else who's on your flight.
That's right, because you try to go call or whatever. So having that data,
go back to the counter.
Yeah, forget
That's no fun.
So I actually like all those apps. But I used the Delta one. It was good. You could check in off it. The one feature I thought was bad is when I was checking in. If I was checking in multiple people, I couldn't use the e-boarding. So it wouldn't let me use e-boarding if I checked in multiple people, which I thought kind of not.
It's lame-o.
So that's our picks, a very flight-friendly picks. I made a couple. Again, I think I wrote up something on the blog. If you want to go search for travel or travel apps or must-have travel things, I could probably write another one at some point, maybe for next year, because I've updated my travel gear since. I'm getting to the point of mastering. I've even gotten to the point that I now know the order in which I put the things on the belt to go through the scanner.
Oh,
I have an order. Shoes, computer, bag, big bag. Because the first thing comes out, you throw them on the ground, you put on your shoes. Then you grab the computer, and then you open up the second bag, and you throw it into the second bag.
It's like a race when you get there.
So that just made our a travel-y podcast.
Yep.
Remember to go to blog.argusinc.com. Remember to go to Facebook. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter as well. all at Arkus Inc. You can follow Justin at twitter.com/JustEdelstein. I'm at twitter.com/JasonMAtwood. And we're on the iTunes for the podcast. Leave us some things. Subscribe there. Do all that great stuff. Also on LinkedIn. Also on the Dreamforce portal. So we're still in there. Yes, the Dreamforce portal is still open for you Salesforce people. And until next week, it's Jason and Justin saying enjoy those cloudy days.